you have this mindset, when you have this pre-commitment to God, and God reveals His will to you, and you are completely removed, nothing is a sacrifice. Even your life means nothing. This is the essence. Here am I. God is me. I'm tired of this world. I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing men and women die each day for a cause they believe. I'm tired of seeing young babies being raped every 15 seconds somewhere in this world. I'm tired of even in news where somebody has been shot. I'm tired. My heart is crying out, God, that should be our heart crying out, God, what can be done? I recently read somewhere, a man died and met God. Now, a man questioned God and said, God, why is this all? Why is the injustice in the world? Why is there so much suffering? And God said, I sent you to do something. God has sent us this morning to do something. The call is already there. God has already made the call very clear. But His problem is that you and I have not made that commitment. The call is very clear. It's already there. God already announced it. I sent you. But we have not made that commitment because we are still where? In that country. So as I wrap up here, my friends, this principle of being separated, this antithetical principle, this either or, either you're on God's side or you are on the world's side, is the message of the Bible. Choose whom you will serve. Choose whom you will serve. But as for me and my house will serve. I don't know what is holding you back in that country. Because for sure, none of us can say, here am I, as long as we dwell in that country. As long as we dwell, as long as we are holding that position, as long as we are still in that class, as long as every Friday night I'm found in a nightclub, as long as I'm glued on that computer screen watching pornography, as long as I'm in that country, God has no use of me. What is holding you? What is holding you and I to do the will of God? What is holding you back to say, here am I, God? God, send me in. Is it a relationship? What is it? What can possibly be holding you? When God says, go for me, and you say, no, I can't. I'm still here. I'm bound to this 5-year track in the medical school. Is that what's holding you? You are still in that country. Is it lost that is still holding you back? You're still in that country. What is holding you back from saying, here am I, Lord, lay any burden upon me, only sustain me in this generation. To stand, to rise and be a godly man and a godly woman, to stand though the heavens fall. To stand in this region of Northeast and raise a movement. To stand in my church and be known as a man or young lady of principle. That I stand for the truth, no matter what the consequences are. God is looking for leaders, women and men, in this region. And many of you are capable of doing that. But the will, the commitment is not there. The commitment is not there. And eventually, CIMG Atlantic Executive Committee should have that mindset that regardless of how many people show up, we'll do it anyway. Regardless of absence of funds, we are going ahead by faith. That God is able to do above everything, above what we think or ask for. That God is able to supply all our needs as long as we have the commitment.
Amen. For
God owns silver and gold. 1,000 cattle on the hills are His. But we have that commitment that God will provide.
Amen.
That's the mindset that this theme is calling us for. Before we can even answer here, man, I have that mindset. What is holding you back from saying, Lord, sever any ties that bind me to this world? God, this umbilical God, this that binds me to the world, the Lord that holds me glued to the things, to the temporal things of the world, the things that one day they will all bind. What is it that is holding you? Is it your house? Perhaps you just entered a mortgage of 30 years. But is it that equal to the sacrifice that you can give God? That's the challenge, my friends, we're facing. And I appeal to you that we make up our mind to say, before I can say, here am I must be willing already to do whatever God says. Because God has already sent the message. He just needs people who are committed to it. The message is very clear. We are to call out all those people who are in that country. Come out. For Babylon is fallen. Babylon is fallen. Twice, inspiration repeats the word. Babylon is fallen. Babylon is fallen. And I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, as John describes, as he saw the three angels' message. I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel. God has given the message already to preach to every nation, to every person around you, your neighbors, your classmates. As the president of this conference has said, the gospel is not, the message, the work is not finished unless we reach our neighbors, classmates, our friends, our relatives. The message has not reached anyone. And so that's the reason you don't need to go to Africa. You don't need to go to South America to be a missionary. You can be a missionary here in your family. And you can stand and people know she has been with God. She is a friend of God. This is the life of Abraham. 2 verses. Turn again with me to chapter 12. The life of Abraham in 2 verses.
Genesis 12.
Reading from verse 1. Now the Lord has said unto Abraham, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land thou shalt show thee. And I'll make of thee a great nation, and I'll bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. Where God will have you and I be, there lies our greatest happiness. There lies our source of joy. Whatever God's will is to send, His grace will sustain. Wherever God's will is sent, His grace will sustain.
Amen.
Because Abraham was willing to say, here am I. Lord, use me anyhow you want. Send me anything. God made him. He might not make you great by many riches, but He may spiritually, character-wise, build you up to be a blessing to the world. It is not the material things you can give to people. It is how you can enrich them spiritually. For that is the incorruptible gift you can give them. That the fire cannot even burn. The character help them build them.